What if I told you there are places on Earth where the rules of gravity don't just bend, they completely shatter? Picture this. You're standing on a quiet hillside, car in neutral, hands off the wheel, and instead of rolling downhill like every law of physics says it should, your car starts creeping upward on its own. Or imagine pouring water onto the ground, only to watch it defy gravity and flow uphill like something out of a sci-fi movie. These aren't scenes from a fantasy novel or glitches in the Matrix. They're real, documented phenomena happening right now in hidden corners of our planet. And today, we're going on a journey to uncover 22 of these mind-bending locations where gravity behaves as if we've already left Earth behind. Some of these spots are optical illusions so clever they fool even the sharpest minds, while others are genuine enigmas that have stumped scientists for decades. Why do certain patches of land seem to reverse gravity's pull? How can a person suddenly feel lighter just by crossing an invisible line in the landscape? The answers range from fascinating geological quirks to forces we still don't fully understand. And here's the wildest part. Many of these places look completely ordinary at first glance. You could walk right past them without realizing you're standing in a pocket of the planet where the usual rules don't apply. This isn't just about strange tourist attractions or quirky roadside stops. These gravity anomalies challenge everything we think we know about how the world works. They're living proof that Earth still holds mysteries science can't always explain, places where the ground beneath your feet feels more like the surface of another planet. So buckle up, because we're about to visit locations where compasses spin wildly, where balls roll uphill without a push, and where you might even feel like you're floating. By the end, you'll see our planet in a whole new light, one where the line between Earth and space feels surprisingly thin. Let's begin. Our first stop takes us deep into California's misty redwood forests, where a small patch of land has been baffling visitors since the 1940s. Welcome to the Mystery Spot, a place where the laws of physics seem to have taken a vacation. Step inside its famous tilted cabin, and within seconds, you'll feel like the world has tipped sideways. People standing at what appears to be a slight angle suddenly seem to lean at impossible 45 degrees without falling over. Drop a ball, and instead of obeying gravity, it rolls steadily uphill as if pulled by some unseen force. Even your own body betrays you. Walking feels off balance, and your sense of vertical and horizontal gets completely scrambled. Scientists have tried to explain the mystery spot for decades. Some say it's a clever optical illusion caused by the cabin's deliberately slanted construction and the surrounding sloping terrain. The disorienting angles trick your brain into misjudging which way is truly down. Others point to local magnetic anomalies or even pockets of gravitational distortion in the area. Whatever the cause, the effect is undeniable. Visitors often stumble out laughing in disbelief, clutching their heads as their senses recalibrate to the real world. But here's what makes the mystery spot truly special. It doesn't just defy gravity, it plays with perception itself. The crooked trees outside the cabin grow at odd angles, adding to the surreal atmosphere. Guides demonstrate tricks like making someone appear to shrink or grow just by changing their position in the room. It's a full-body illusion that feels more like stepping into a funhouse designed by Mother Nature. Whether it's science, magic, or something in between, one thing's certain. This little patch of California redwoods proves that sometimes reality is far stranger than fiction. Just a few hundred miles north of California's mystery spot lies another gravitational head-scratcher, the Oregon Vortex. This eerie stretch of land, tucked away in the state's dense forests, is home to the infamous House of Mystery, a structure where the impossible becomes routine. Step inside and you'll witness something straight out of a fairy tale. People seemingly shrinking or growing taller right before your eyes, depending on where they stand. A person at one end of the room might appear to tower over their friend, only for the roles to reverse when they switch places. It's as if the laws of perspective and gravity have conspired to play tricks on anyone who dares to enter. What makes the Oregon Vortex even stranger is how it affects more than just human perception. Drop a ball here, and it won't just roll, it'll curve mid-air, defying a straight path as if tugged by an unseen hand. Hold a pendulum steady, and instead of hanging straight down, it swings at an unnatural angle, as though the very ground beneath it is tilted in ways your eyes can't detect. Even animals seem to sense something's off. Local legends say birds avoid flying directly over the vortex, altering their flight paths as if navigating around an invisible force field. Scientists have tossed around plenty of theories to explain this phenomenon. Some suggest powerful electromagnetic fields beneath the Earth could be warping the local environment, while others point to unusual mineral deposits disrupting gravitational pull. Then there are those who believe the entire area sits atop a natural gravitational anomaly, a rare spot where Earth's usual forces get tangled. But here's the twist: no single explanation fully accounts for every bizarre occurrence here. The Oregon Vortex doesn't just challenge gravity, it toys with light, shadow, and depth perception in ways that leave even experts scratching their heads. Visitors often describe the same surreal sensation: a creeping dizziness, a slight pressure in the ears, as if the air itself weighs differently here. The House of Mystery, with its slanted floors and off-kilter doorways, amplifies the disorientation, making it hard to trust your own senses. Stand in the right spot, and you might even appear to lean at an impossible angle without falling, as though the vortex has quietly rewritten the rules of balance just for you. Whether it's science or something stranger, one thing's clear: this patch of Oregon wilderness proves that sometimes the most ordinary-looking places hide the most extraordinary secrets. Now we're heading to South Dakota's Black Hills, where the Cosmos Mystery Area has been turning the world upside down literally since the 1950s. Walk onto this unassuming patch of land, and suddenly, the simplest laws of physics stop making sense. Pour water from a bottle, and instead of dripping downward, it streams upward at an impossible angle, defying gravity as if pulled by an invisible thread. Set a broom against a wall, and it'll stand perfectly straight without support, as though the very air around it has decided to hold it in place. Even more bizarre. People standing on the tilted platform appear to lean at impossible angles, their bodies refusing to obey the usual rules of balance. What makes the Cosmos Mystery Area stand out isn't just the tricks it plays on gravity, it's how it warps perception in ways that leave visitors questioning their own senses. The entire site is built on a natural slope, but the way structures here are tilted creates a dizzying optical illusion. Step inside the old prospector's cabin, and you'll feel like the room itself is alive, shifting around you. Chairs slide across the floor without being pushed, and pendulums swing in erratic circles instead of straight lines. Some visitors swear they feel a strange pressure in their ears, as if the air density changes the moment they cross onto the property. Scientists have a few theories about why this happens. Some believe the area sits atop a powerful electromagnetic anomaly, with underground mineral deposits distorting the local gravitational field. Others think the tilted terrain, combined with carefully placed structures, creates a perfect storm of visual deception, tricking the brain into misjudging what's truly level. But even these explanations don't account for everything. Why do compasses spin wildly here? Why do some people report feeling lighter, almost weightless in certain spots? Paranormal enthusiasts love the Cosmos Mystery Area for its lingering air of the unexplained. Local legends whisper about UFO activity, underground energy vortices, or even remnants of ancient technology buried beneath the soil. Whether you buy into those stories or not, one thing's undeniable: this place doesn't just bend the rules. It rewrites them entirely, leaving everyone who visits with the same eerie thought. Maybe we don't understand gravity as well as we think we do. Spook Hill in Florida proves that sometimes the most chilling ghost stories have a scientific twist. Nestled in the quiet town of Lake Wales, this stretch of road has been the subject of local legend for generations. The tale goes like this. A Native American chief and his warriors once battled a giant gator in these wetlands. After the chief's death, his spirit lingered to protect the land, and now he pushes cars uphill to keep them safe. Park your car at the marked spot, shift into neutral, and watch as it slowly rolls up the incline, seemingly defying gravity with supernatural help. But here's the fascinating truth behind the phantom push. Spook Hill is a classic example of a gravity hill, a place where the surrounding terrain plays tricks on your eyes. The road's downward slope is hidden by the lay of the land, making it appear to rise instead. With no clear horizon line to anchor your perspective, your brain gets fooled into thinking the car is moving against gravity when it's actually obeying it perfectly. It's the same illusion that makes a ball appear to roll uphill or water seem to flow backward. What makes Spook Hill special isn't just the optical trick, it's how the local community has embraced the mystery. The town leans into the legend with playful pride, marking the spot with a sign that invites visitors to test the phenomenon themselves. Schools even field trip here to teach kids about perception and physics. And while science demystifies the ghost story, there's still something magical about watching a car roll uphill with no engine power. The blend of folklore and science creates a memorable experience, one that leaves visitors grinning as they question what their eyes just saw. Gravity hills like this exist worldwide, but Spook Hill stands out for its atmosphere. Spanish moss drapes over nearby oaks, and the air feels thick with humidity and maybe a little mystery. Whether you're a skeptic or a believer, there's no denying the thrill of feeling your car move in ways that defy logic. It's a reminder that even in our modern age, a clever illusion or a well-told ghost story can still make the everyday feel extraordinary. Nestled along New Brunswick's winding roads, Magnetic Hill feels like a glitch in the matrix, a place where cars left in neutral suddenly start rolling up an incline, as if pulled by some invisible force. It's one of Canada's most famous gravity-defying spots, and the illusion is so convincing that visitors often step out of their vehicles, staring in disbelief at the seemingly impossible climb. The surrounding landscape plays the ultimate trick here, a perfectly crafted optical illusion where the downward slope of the road is hidden by the way hills and trees frame the horizon. What looks like an uphill stretch is actually a gentle decline, making your car's backward roll feel like magic when it's just gravity doing its job, just not in the direction your brain expects. What makes Magnetic Hill stand out isn't just the illusion itself, it's how the entire area leans into the mystery. Local shops sell souvenirs branded with Canada's Wonder of the World, and the spot has become such a tourist staple that the nearby amusement park borrowed its name. Families line up to test the phenomenon, laughing as their bikes coast effortlessly uphill or watching water appear to flow backward along the pavement. It's a masterclass in how perception can override reality, proving that sometimes the most ordinary forces of nature can feel extraordinary when viewed from the right angle. Scientists love places like Magnetic Hill because they reveal how easily our brains can be fooled by terrain. Without a clear horizon line, like an open sky or flat plain, our sense of balance relies on visual cues from the environment. When those cues are misleading, even the most basic assumptions about gravity go out the window. But here's the twist: while the science explains the how, it doesn't dull the wow. Standing there, watching a soda can roll steadily toward what looks like higher ground, you can't help but feel a childlike wonder. It's a reminder that even in a world where we've mapped every inch of the planet, there are still pockets that make us question what we see, and that's a kind of magic no illusion can spoil. Tucked away in California's redwood forests, Confusion Hill lives up to its name, a place where the ground beneath your feet seems to shift like the deck of a ship. Walk through its iconic crooked house, and within seconds you'll feel your sense of balance betray you. Walls tilt at dizzying angles, making it impossible to tell which way is truly upright. Stand in one corner, and you'll appear to lean at 45 degrees without falling, as if gravity has decided to pull you sideways instead of down. Even simple actions like walking or pouring water become surreal challenges here, with streams of liquid-defying logic by flowing uphill. The theories behind Confusion Hill are as intriguing as the experience itself. Geologists point to the area's unique underground composition. Dense deposits of iron-rich minerals could theoretically create localized gravitational anomalies, subtly warping the forces around them. Others argue it's all about perception. The entire structure is built on a steep slope, with deliberately skewed walls and tilted floors that trick your brain into misjudging the horizon. Without visual anchors, your inner ear and eyes clash, leaving you disoriented in the most delightful way. But here's what sets Confusion Hill apart from other gravity-defying spots: its playful embrace of the unexplained. Guides demonstrate how two people of identical height can appear drastically different in size just by standing in specific spots. Balls roll uphill, brooms stand unsupported, and shadows fall in directions that make no sense. The atmosphere leans into the mystery, blending roadside attraction charm with genuine scientific curiosity. Kids giggle as they grow and shrink on command, while adults scratch their heads at the sheer persistence of the illusions even after they're explained. Whether it's subterranean forces or masterful trickery, the magic of Confusion Hill lies in how it makes the impossible feel tangible. For a few surreal moments, you're not just observing a quirk of physics, you're living inside it, questioning every assumption about how the world should work. And that's the real thrill, stepping out afterward, your brain still half convinced that gravity might not be as reliable as you once thought. Gravity Hill in Pennsylvania takes the ordinary act of parking a car and turns it into a moment of pure disbelief. Tucked away along a quiet stretch of road near New Paris, this spot has been baffling travelers for generations. Pull up to the designated white line, shift into neutral, and take your foot off the brake. What happens next feels like a scene from a supernatural thriller. Your car begins rolling up the hill, gaining speed as if tugged by an unseen force. It's the kind of experience that makes you double-check your dashboard, wondering if some ghostly hand just gave you a push. The secret here isn't paranormal, it's all about perspective. Gravity Hill is a textbook example of a Gravity Hill illusion, where the lay of the land creates a visual trick so convincing it overrides your brain's logic. The road's true downward slope is hidden by the surrounding terrain. Rolling hills, dense trees, and a lack of clear horizon lines distort your sense of which way is truly up. Without those visual anchors, your mind assumes the incline is rising when it's actually falling. Pour water on the pavement, and it'll seem to flow uphill. Toss a ball, and it appears to defy physics. It's a masterclass in how easily our senses can be fooled by the environment. What makes this Pennsylvania spot stand out is its legendary backstory. Local lore claims the hill is haunted by the spirits of children who once pushed stranded cars to safety after a tragic school bus accident. Others say it's the work of Civil War-era ghosts or underground magnetic forces. The tales add a layer of eerie charm, but the real magic lies in the science. Researchers love places like Gravity Hill because they reveal how reliant human perception is on context. Tilt the frame of reference just right, and even gravity seems to flip its rules. Visitors often leave with a mix of awe and amusement. Kids squeal as their bikes coast effortlessly uphill, while adults marvel at how stubbornly their brains resist the truth even after it's explained. The spot has become such a cultural staple that locals proudly point the way, and road signs playfully warn drivers to prepare for the impossible. Whether you're a skeptic or a seeker of mysteries, Gravity Hill delivers something rare, a moment where the everyday world feels thrillingly unpredictable. It's a reminder that sometimes the most extraordinary wonders aren't hidden in distant galaxies. They're right there on the side of the road, waiting to make you question everything you think you know. Up in Michigan's Upper Peninsula, nestled among dense pine forests, the St. Ignis mystery spot takes the concept of gravity defiance and cranks it up to 11. This quirky roadside attraction has been warping visitors' sense of reality since the 1950s, with its signature tilted cabin serving as the stage for some seriously mind-bending experiences. Step inside, and within moments, you'll feel your body betraying every instinct, leaning at impossible angles, struggling to keep balance as the room itself seems to twist around you. But here's where it gets even stranger. Depending on where you stand, your own weight appears to shift. One corner might make you feel light as a feather, while another leaves you rooted to the floor like you're suddenly carrying invisible lead shoes. The science behind the mystery spot is as fascinating as the illusions themselves. Like its cousins in Oregon and California, this spot leans heavily on forced perspective. The cabin's 25-degree tilt, combined with the surrounding sloped terrain, creates a visual hall of mirrors for your brain. Without a true horizon line to anchor your senses, your perception of down gets hijacked by the skewed environment. But what sets St. Ignis apart are the localized sensations of weight change. Some researchers speculate that subtle shifts in the Earth's magnetic field here could interact with the inner ear's balance systems, creating that eerie sensation of fluctuating gravity. Others point to the area's unique geology. Thick deposits of iron ore beneath the soil might generate micro-variations in gravitational pull, just enough to mess with your sense of heaviness. Visitors love testing the spot's tricks firsthand. Guides demonstrate how a simple broom stands unaided in midair, or how two people of identical height appear to grow and shrink as they switch places. The real magic, though, is in the communal disbelief. Strangers laugh together as they stumble like tipsy sailors, all while trying to reconcile what they're feeling with what they know should be possible. The attraction leans into its retro charm with vintage signage and a playful mystery branding that harks back to an era when roadside oddities ruled family road trips. But beyond the gimmicks, the St. Ignis mystery spot taps into something deeper, a universal fascination with the moments when reality glitches. Whether it's clever architecture or something genuinely unexplained, this place reminds us that even the most fundamental forces, like gravity, can feel delightfully unpredictable when viewed through the right lens. And that's the real pull of this Michigan marvel. It doesn't just defy physics. It invites you to question what you'd bet your life was true 5 minutes before you walked in. Scotland's Electric Brae is the kind of place that makes you question whether your eyes are playing tricks or if the universe itself has quietly rewritten the rules. Known locally as Croy Brae, this stretch of road along the Ayrshire coast has been fooling travelers for centuries with its gravity-defying illusion. Park your car at the marked spot, shift into neutral, and suddenly you're coasting uphill at a steady pace, as if some unseen force has taken the wheel. The effect is so convincing that Victorian visitors reportedly accused the area of being haunted, convinced that spirits or witchcraft were at work. Even today, first-time visitors step out of their vehicles staring at the pavement, half expecting to find hidden magnets or secret machinery pulling them upward. But the truth behind Electric Brae is a masterpiece of natural misdirection. The surrounding landscape, a rolling tapestry of hills and valleys, creates a false horizon so perfect it flips your perception of slope entirely. What looks like an incline is actually a gentle downhill, hidden by the way the terrain curves and folds around the road. Without a clear reference point, your brain defaults to the most obvious conclusion, that you're moving against gravity. Toss a ball onto the road and it'll appear to roll uphill with eerie determination. Pour water and it streams upward like a scene from a reversed film reel. It's a reminder that human perception is fragile, easily hijacked by the right combination of angles and sightlines. What sets Electric Brae apart is its storied history. The name itself dates back to the 19th century, when locals theorized that underground electric currents were causing the phenomenon, hence Electric Brae. Others whispered about ley lines or ancient geological quirks left behind by glaciers. The spot became so famous that the Scottish government eventually installed an official marker, complete with a plaque explaining the science, though it cheekily admits the illusion still baffles and amuses. Visitors today often linger, testing the effect with bikes, skateboards, or even just a well-placed soda can, laughing as it obediently rolls the wrong way. But here's the real magic of Electric Brae. It doesn't just play with gravity, it plays with wonder. Standing there, watching the impossible unfold in broad daylight, you're reminded that the world still holds pockets of harmless mystery. No ghosts, no quantum anomalies, just a quiet stretch of road that proves how delightfully easy it is to fool a human brain. And maybe that's the best kind of magic trick of all, one where the secret is out but the thrill never fades. Deep in the heart of Australia's outback, the Devil's Punch Bowl defies logic with a spectacle that would make Isaac Newton do a double take. This massive, bowl-shaped depression in the landscape isn't just a geological oddity, it's a stage where gravity itself seems to take a coffee break. Toss a tennis ball onto its dusty surface, and instead of rolling predictably downhill, it'll curve sharply upward as if tugged by invisible strings. Water poured from a bottle appears to flow in reverse, creeping toward higher ground like it's forgotten how liquids are supposed to behave. Even sturdy four-wheel drive vehicles left in neutral have been known to inch backward up slopes, leaving drivers blinking in disbelief at their dashboards. Theories about what's happening here split into two camps. Some researchers point to the area's rich deposits of magnetite, an iron-rich mineral that could theoretically create localized distortions in Earth's magnetic field. These subtle shifts might interact with metal objects or even the iron in your blood, creating the eerie sensation of weakened gravity. Others argue the punch bowl is nature's greatest magic trick, a flawless optical illusion. The depression's steep, symmetrical walls and the absence of distant horizon lines scramble your depth perception. Without visual anchors, your brain misjudges the true slope, turning a gentle downhill into an apparent uphill. It's the same principle that makes a ball appear to roll against gravity on a tilted table, only here. the scale is vast enough to fool even the most skeptical observer. What makes this spot truly special is how it straddles the line between science and folklore. Aboriginal stories describe the area as a meeting place for ancestral spirits, where the laws of the physical world could be bent. Early European settlers spun tales of phantom hands pushing wagons uphill or unseen vortexes swallowing careless travelers. Modern visitors still report odd sensations, a sudden lightness in their step, or the unsettling feeling that their sense of down has subtly shifted. Whether you chalk it up to magnetism, illusion, or something more mysterious, standing in the Devil's Punch Bowl feels like stepping into a pocket dimension where the usual rules don't apply. Scientists love studying places like this because they reveal how fragile our perception of reality can be. With the right terrain and the right lighting, even gravity, the force we think we know best, can seem to flip its script. The punch bowl doesn't just challenge physics, it challenges certainty, leaving everyone who visits with the same humbling thought. Maybe the world has more tricks up its sleeve than we've dared to imagine. And that's the real magic of this sun-baked Australian enigma. It doesn't just move objects, it moves minds. Deep in Poland's dense forest lies a place so unsettling, locals call it the Bermuda Triangle of land. Step into this quiet stretch of wilderness and suddenly the most basic tools of navigation, like your trusty compass, become useless. Needles spin wildly, refusing to settle on magnetic north as if the very laws of magnetism have been scrambled. Hikers report feeling an eerie shift in their own weight, as though gravity itself weakens the deeper they venture into the trees. Some swear their footsteps feel lighter, almost bouncy, while others describe an invisible force pulling them off balance, like walking on the deck of a ship during a storm. Theories about this place range from scientific to downright supernatural. Geologists point to massive iron deposits deep beneath the soil, which could warp Earth's magnetic field in unpredictable ways. Others speculate about forgotten Cold War-era experiments or even secret underground tunnels lined with conductive materials, creating artificial electromagnetic chaos. Then there are the local legends, whispers of ancient Slavic spirits guarding the land, or residual energy from wartime tragedies that left an indelible mark on the landscape. The one thing everyone agrees on, this patch of forest doesn't play by the usual rules. What makes Poland's gravity-defying woods especially chilling is how ordinary they appear at first glance. Unlike tilted cabins or optical illusion roads, there's no visual giveaway here. The trees grow straight, the ground looks level. It's only when you pull out a compass or try to walk a straight line that reality seems to glitch. Researchers have attempted to map the area's magnetic anomalies, but the patterns shift unpredictably, sometimes strong enough to interfere with drone signals, other times vanishing entirely for days. Even satellite data struggles to explain why this specific spot behaves so differently from the surrounding terrain. Visitors often leave with more questions than answers. Some report electronic devices malfunctioning for hours after leaving, while others describe a lingering dizziness, as if their inner ear still hasn't recalibrated to the outside world. Whether it's geology, history, or something science hasn't named yet, this Polish forest stands as a reminder that even in our age of GPS and satellite imaging, there are still places where the ground beneath your feet feels anything but solid. And perhaps that's the real mystery, not just why compasses fail here, but why this small corner of the planet seems to resist being understood at all. High on a sun-baked cliff in Myanmar, a golden boulder the size of a two-story house perches so precariously, it looks like a stiff breeze could send it tumbling into the valley below. But here's the catch: this rock hasn't budged for centuries. Known as the Golden Boulder or Kyaiktiyo Pagoda, this gravity-defying marvel balances on the very edge of a sheer drop, its base barely touching the slope beneath it. From certain angles, you can actually see daylight between the boulder and the rock below, as if some invisible hand is holding it suspended in midair. Push against it with all your might and it might sway slightly, but it won't roll, even during earthquakes and monsoons when logic says it should have plummeted long ago. It remains stubbornly, impossibly in place. The local legend behind the boulder is as captivating as its physics-defying stance. According to tradition, the rock is held aloft by a single strand of Buddha's hair, carefully enshrined within the tiny pagoda built atop the boulder. Pilgrims believe this sacred relic infuses the stone with divine stability, explaining why it refuses to obey the laws of gravity. Every year, thousands of devotees trek up the mountain to gild the boulder with fresh gold leaf, their offerings transforming it into a gleaming beacon against the jungle backdrop. The act isn't just ceremonial, it's a testament to faith in the impossible, a ritual that blurs the line between geology and the miraculous. Scientists, of course, have their own theories. Some suggest the boulder's unique shape and the curvature of the cliff beneath it create a perfect balancing point, distributing its massive weight in a way that locks it in place. Others point to the rock's composition, a type of granite with unusual density that might resist erosion better than the softer stone below, creating the illusion of floating. But even these explanations struggle to account for the boulder's eerie stability over millennia. Why hasn't weathering or seismic activity dislodged it? Why does it sway without falling, as if tethered by some cosmic string? Visitors describe an almost electric atmosphere here. The air hums with the murmur of prayers and the scent of incense, while the boulder itself seems to pulse with quiet energy. Some claim to feel a strange lightness when standing near it, as if the usual pull of gravity weakens in its presence. Whether you see it as a holy relic or a geological fluke, the golden boulder challenges one of humanity's most basic assumptions, that what goes up must come down. In this secluded corner of Myanmar, it seems, the universe is still willing to make exceptions. And that's the real magic of this place. Not just that the rock defies gravity, but that it invites us to wonder if the rules we take for granted might be more flexible than we ever imagined. Deep in the ancient Lepakshi temple of India, a single stone pillar defies every rule of structural engineering, floating inches above the ground without any visible support. Known as the hanging pillar, this architectural marvel has left experts scratching their heads for centuries. Run your hand beneath it, and you'll feel the unmistakable gap where the pillar refuses to touch the floor, suspended as if held aloft by some invisible force. What makes this even more bewildering is that the pillar isn't some isolated oddity. It's part of a larger colonnade, surrounded by dozens of other pillars that stand firmly anchored. But this one, it dances to its own gravitational tune. Local legends swirl around the pillar's origin. Some say it was designed this way deliberately by the temple's builders, a group of master craftsmen who embedded anti-gravity secrets into their work. Others whisper that the pillar once rested on the ground, but lifted itself after a British engineer attempting to understand its stability dislodged it slightly, angering the gods. Now it hangs as a testament to divine intervention. Scientists, of course, have more grounded theories. The pillar's float might be the result of near imperceptible erosion at its base, worn down by centuries of curious hands or seismic shifts. Or it could be a stroke of genius in load distribution. The weight of the ceiling so perfectly balanced across the surrounding pillars that this one was left with barely any downward pressure. But here's what truly captivates visitors. The pillar isn't just a static oddity, it's interactive. Guides demonstrate its mystery by sliding thin fabrics or papers beneath it, showing how easily they pass through the gap. The effect is so convincing that even seasoned engineers pause. momentarily questioning everything they know about gravity and structural integrity. The temple itself adds to the enigma, its walls adorned with intricate carvings that seem to hint at advanced knowledge of physics and astronomy, as if the builders were playing with forces beyond modern understanding. Whether it's ancient ingenuity or something more mystical, the hanging pillar does more than defy gravity, it challenges our arrogance. In an age where we think we've mastered the laws of nature, here's a centuries-old stone column that quietly reminds us there are still wonders in this world that refuse to be explained. And perhaps that's the real magic of Lepakshi, not just that the pillar hangs, but that it leaves everyone who sees it hanging between awe and disbelief. Off the coast of Africa, on the island of Mauritius, nature stages one of its most audacious magic tricks, a waterfall that seems to flow upward, cascading down the rugged cliffs of Le Morne, Brabant. This mesmerizing phenomenon looks like a scene ripped straight from a science fiction film. Water from the mountain stream should plummet toward the ocean like any ordinary waterfall. But when the island's fierce trade winds kick in, something extraordinary happens. Gusts roar up the cliff face with such force that they catch the falling water mid-descent, hurling it back skyward in a shimmering arc. The result, a liquid ribbon that appears to defy gravity, dancing upward into the mist like a serpent uncoiling toward the clouds. What makes this illusion so striking isn't just the visual spectacle, it's how convincingly it mimics a true gravity reversal. From a distance, the water doesn't just spray or mist, it flows continuously upward, as if someone hit rewind on nature. The wind's power is so consistent that the effect can last for minutes, even hours, depending on the weather. Visitors often stand frozen in disbelief, half expecting the surrounding landscape to follow suit and start floating. It's a reminder of how fragile our assumptions about physics can be when faced with nature's sleight of hand. Scientists love this spot precisely because it isn't a genuine gravity anomaly. Unlike magnetic hills or floating boulders, the reverse waterfall lays its secrets bare. The mechanics are clear. Wind speed meets water weight in a perfect tug of war, with the wind winning just enough to create the illusion. But that doesn't dull the wonder. If anything, knowing the science amplifies the magic proof that you don't need supernatural forces to witness something that feels impossible. The waterfall becomes a lesson in perspective, showing how the right conditions can make even the most predictable forces seem alien. Local legends, though, prefer a more poetic explanation. Some say the upward flow is the mountain spirit reaching for the heavens, a symbol of resilience against the pull of the earth. Others whisper that it's a signal from the island's hidden energy vortices, places where the boundary between the ordinary and the extraordinary grows thin. Whether you lean toward myth or meteorology, one thing's certain: standing there, watching water defy its own nature, you're not just seeing an optical illusion. You're seeing the moment when the natural world winks at you, inviting you to question what else might not be as fixed as it seems. Deep in the Amazon rainforest of Peru, a river defies all expectations, not by flowing backward or floating objects, but by boiling alive. The Shanay Tempishka, known to locals as the Boiling River, churns with water so hot it steams at nearly 200 degrees Fahrenheit, hot enough to poach eggs or scald flesh in seconds. Yet just steps away from its scorching banks, the jungle air hangs thick and humid, cool enough to make you shiver if you've just dipped your hand into the lethal current. It's a place where the laws of thermodynamics seem to fracture, where blistering heat and normal temperatures exist side by side with no gradual gradient, as if gravity itself has carved an invisible line between two different realities. The science behind this phenomenon is as dramatic as the river itself. Geologists believe the boiling waters are fed by underground geothermal vents, where magma-heated fluids surge upward through cracks in the Earth's crust. But here's the twist. Most geothermal systems require volcanic activity, and the nearest active volcano lies over 400 miles away. The boiling river shouldn't exist, at least not at this intensity. Some researchers speculate that a unique fault system acts like a natural pipeline, channeling superheated water from deep within the planet with freakish efficiency. Others wonder if the river's path intersects with an undiscovered geothermal hotspot, a pocket of the Earth's crust where heat radiates with unnatural focus. Yet what truly unsettles visitors isn't just the science, it's the sensory whiplash. Stand in one spot, and the ground vibrates with the river's furious bubbling, the air thick with the sulfurous tang of minerals. Take 3 steps back, and suddenly you're enveloped in the damp chill of the rainforest, the roar of the river replaced by the chirp of cicadas. The boundary between these two worlds is razor-sharp, almost artificial, as if someone drew a line on the Earth and declared one side a cauldron, the other a sanctuary. Local shamans revere the river as a spiritual threshold, a place where the physical and metaphysical worlds simmer together. They tell stories of spirits who heat the waters as a test or a warning. For all its danger, the boiling river holds an eerie allure. Mist rises from its surface in spectral curls, and at dawn, the sunlight fractures through the steam, painting the jungle in prismatic hues. Scientists still can't fully explain why the heat concentrates so fiercely here, why the river doesn't cool as it winds away from its source. Maybe it's geology. Maybe it's something older, something the modern world hasn't named yet. But one thing's certain, this stretch of the Amazon doesn't just boil water. It boils down our assumptions about how the natural world works and leaves us staring into the steam, wondering what other secrets might be simmering just beneath the surface. In the heart of Turkmenistan's Karakum Desert, a gaping pit of fire roars ceaselessly into the sky, a spectacle so alien, it's earned the name the Door to Hell. This massive crater, stretching over 200 feet wide, has been ablaze for more than 50 years, its flames licking at the edges of the Earth like a portal to some infernal dimension. While it doesn't defy gravity in the traditional sense, the sheer otherworldliness of this place warps your perception of reality. Stand at its rim at night, and the flickering glow paints the desert in eerie hues, while the heat radiating from below makes the air shimmer like a mirage. It's the closest thing to walking on the surface of a distant volcanic planet without ever leaving Earth. The story behind this fiery abyss is as dramatic as the site itself. In 1971, Soviet geologists were drilling for natural gas when the ground beneath their rig suddenly collapsed, swallowing equipment and leaving a gaping hole filled with toxic methane gas. Fearing the spread of dangerous fumes, they made a fateful decision: set it on fire, expecting the gas to burn off in weeks, but the flames never died. Decades later, the crater still rages, a permanent furnace fueled by the planet's hidden reserves. Scientists estimate the temperature inside reaches nearly 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit, hot enough to melt certain metals. Yet just beyond the crater's edge, the desert air cools rapidly, creating a surreal boundary between normalcy and nightmare. What makes the Door to Hell especially mesmerizing is how it plays with scale and perspective. From a distance, the crater looks like a tiny campfire on the horizon, but as you approach, its true immensity reveals itself. The flames dance unpredictably, sometimes leaping dozens of feet into the air, other times retreating into the pit like living things catching their breath. At dawn, when the desert chill clashes with the crater's heat, steam rises in ghostly spirals, adding to the illusion that you're peering into another realm. Local guides tell stories of wildlife giving the pit a wide berth, as if the animals sense something humans can't, a primal recognition of the unnatural. For all its scientific origins, the door to hell has taken on a mythic quality. Adventurers brave enough to camp near by report an uncanny silence in the desert at night, broken only by the crater's low, constant roar. Some visitors describe a strange pull when standing near the edge, not gravity, but something more psychological, as if the flames themselves are whispering to step closer. It's a place that doesn't just defy expectations, it rewrites them entirely, proving that even without anti-gravity tricks, our planet holds corners so bizarre, they might as well be extraterrestrial. And perhaps that's the real lesson here. Earth doesn't need to break the laws of physics to make us feel like we've stumbled onto another world. Sometimes, all it takes is a pit of fire that refuses to die. Norway's Hestalen Valley holds one of Earth's most perplexing light shows, floating orbs that dance across the night sky with no regard for the laws of physics. These aren't your typical northern lights or stray satellites. The Hestalen lights appear as glowing spheres, sometimes hovering silently for hours, other times zipping across the terrain at impossible speeds. They shift colors white, yellow, even fiery red, and vanish without warning, leaving scientists and spectators alike staring at empty darkness, wondering if they imagined the whole thing. What makes these lights so baffling isn't just their behavior, it's their defiance of conventional explanation. Unlike ball lightning or auroras, the Hestalen lights don't follow predictable patterns. Some drift lazily like fog, while others streak through the valley like they're late for an appointment. Researchers have clocked them moving at speeds that would shred known aircraft, then stopping on a dime. Thermal cameras capture heat signatures, but the orbs leave no trace of combustion or exhaust. It's as if the valley has its own private fleet of UFOs, operating under a completely different rulebook. Theories about their origin range from the scientific to the speculative. Some physicists propose they're a rare form of plasma-ionized gas conducting electricity in ways we don't yet understand. The valley's unique geology, rich in copper and sulfur, could create natural batteries in the earth, generating energy that manifests as these eerie lights. Others point to piezoelectric effects, where stress on rocks produces electrical charges strong enough to ignite the air. But here's the catch: no lab has ever replicated lights with this level of control or longevity. Then there are the more adventurous ideas. Could the valley sit atop a hidden gravitational anomaly, bending light and energy in ways that appear supernatural? A handful of researchers whisper about experimental anti-gravity technology secret tests leaving traces in this remote corner of Norway. Locals, meanwhile, lean into folklore. Old stories describe the lights as spirits of lost miners or portals to other dimensions. The truth, after decades of study, the Hestalen lights refuse to fit neatly into any box. What's undeniable is the sheer magnetism of witnessing them. Visitors describe a strange quiet that falls over the valley when the orbs appear, as if the world is holding its breath. Scientists have set up automated observatories, capturing thousands of hours of footage, yet the lights still evade full understanding. They're a reminder that even in an age of satellites and quantum physics, there are still phenomena that laugh at our attempts to explain them. And maybe that's the real magic of Hestalen, not just the lights themselves, but the way they rekindle that childlike wonder, the thrill of staring into the unknown and realizing some mysteries aren't meant to be solved. East of Japan, where the Pacific Ocean stretches into endless blue, lies a stretch of water so treacherous, sailors have dubbed it the Devil's Sea. This infamous region, also known as the Dragon's Triangle, mirrors the mysteries of the Bermuda Triangle. Ships vanish without distress signals, compasses spin wildly, and aircraft report sudden instrument failures as if swallowed by some unseen force. The stories here aren't just maritime legends, they're backed by chilling documentation. In the 1950s, a research vessel named the Kayo Maru No. 5 disappeared while investigating the area, taking all 22 crew members with it. No wreckage, no oil slicks, just silence where a ship should have been. What makes the Devil's Sea especially unnerving is how casually it defies explanation. Unlike storms or rogue waves, the vanishings here often occur in calm weather, with no logical cause. Fishermen whisper of sudden fogs that roll in faster than nature allows, or strange lights glowing beneath the water's surface like submerged fireworks. Scientists have floated theories underwater volcanic activity releasing methane bubbles that sink ships, or magnetic anomalies scrambling navigation systems. Some even speculate about localized gravitational fluctuations, where the seafloor's unique geology might warp the Earth's pull just enough to destabilize vessels. But here's the catch. No theory fully explains why this specific patch of ocean seems to select its victims while letting others pass unharmed. The Dragon's Triangle's reputation isn't just modern hype. Ancient Japanese texts warn of restless dragon gods beneath these waters, dragging down intruders as offerings. Medieval maps labeled the area with cryptic symbols, as if cartographers knew something they couldn't or wouldn't put into words. Even today, satellite imagery reveals odd, circular disturbances in the water here, patterns that don't match typical currents. Researchers have dropped sensors into the depths, only to retrieve them malfunctioning or blank, as if the sea itself erased their data. Yet for all its menace, the Devil's Sea holds a perverse allure. Adventurers and scientists alike are drawn to its mysteries, testing new equipment or scouring sonar maps for clues. Maybe it's the human instinct to confront the unknown, or maybe it's the tantalizing possibility that solving this riddle could unlock secrets about our planet's hidden forces. But until then, the Triangle keeps its secrets, a reminder that even in our age of satellites and deep-sea drones, some corners of Earth still operate by their own rules, and they aren't in a hurry to explain themselves. Death Valley's Racetrack Playa is home to one of Earth's most surreal mysteries, rocks that seem to wander across the desert on their own. These sailing stones, some weighing hundreds of pounds, leave long, meandering tracks in the cracked mud as if they've been dragged by invisible hands. For decades, the phenomenon defied explanation, fueling wild theories from magnetic vortices to alien pranksters. But the truth, uncovered only recently, is just as strange as fiction. Scientists finally cracked the case by capturing the stones in action. The secret, a rare cocktail of ice, wind, and perfect timing. On winter nights, shallow pools form on the playa, freezing into thin sheets. When sunlight melts the ice the next day, it fractures into floating panels. A gentle breeze, sometimes as light as 10 miles per hour, pushes these ice rafts across the water's surface, carrying the rocks with them. The stones glide effortlessly, etching trails into the soft mud below. By afternoon, the water evaporates, leaving only the cryptic tracks behind like signatures from a ghostly force. Yet, even with the mystery solved, witnessing the stones' paths feels unnerving. Some trails stretch straight as arrows, others loop and spiral like drunken doodles. A few rocks travel in pairs, their tracks running parallel before abruptly diverging, as if they'd argued mid-journey. The heaviest boulders leave the deepest grooves, suggesting they moved during exceptionally icy winters when thicker sheets could shoulder their weight. It's a reminder that nature's most magical acts often hinge on fragile, fleeting conditions so precise they feel orchestrated. What makes Racetrack Playa truly haunting is the silence. Unlike roaring waterfalls or cracking glaciers, the stones move without a sound. No grinding, no scraping, just the whisper of wind nudging ice under a pale desert sun. Visitors often describe the playa as a place out of time, where the rocks seem less like inanimate objects and more like ancient travelers resting between journeys. Scientists may have unraveled the how, but the why lingers like a riddle. Why do some rocks stay put while others sail for hundreds of feet? Why do their trails sometimes cross but never collide? Perhaps that's the real magic of Death Valley's wandering stones. They prove that even in our age of satellites and sensors, the natural world still holds quiet enigmas, puzzles that don't need supernatural explanations to leave us awestruck. The Playa doesn't just move rocks, it moves our imagination, inviting us to ponder all the other ordinary phenomena that might hide extraordinary secrets. And sometimes the most profound mysteries aren't those that defy science, but those that reveal how much wonder science has yet to uncover. Tucked away in New York's Chestnut Ridge Park, Eternal Flame Falls feels like a scene stolen from a fantasy novel, a ribbon of water cascading over mossy rocks, with flames flickering defiantly behind the curtain of falling liquid. This isn't some campfire left by hikers. The fire burns year-round, fed by natural gas seeping from fissures in the shale bedrock below. Watch closely, and you'll see the flames dance through the waterfall itself, as if the water and fire have called a truce against the laws of physics. It's the kind of sight that makes you rub your eyes, half expecting the flames to vanish like a mirage. What makes this place so mesmerizing isn't just the fire's persistence. It's how the elements conspire to create the illusion of weightless flame. On calm days, the gas rises in an almost invisible stream, igniting into a single, steady tongue of fire. But when the waterfall's mist swirls around it, the flames appear to fracture into dozens of smaller fires, suspended mid-air like a swarm of glowing butterflies. The water doesn't extinguish them, it frames them, amplifying the surreal effect. Scientists believe the gas escapes through a network of microscopic cracks, pressurized deep underground and forced upward with enough consistency to sustain the flames indefinitely. Yet even they admit there's something uncanny about seeing fire thrive in a place where it logically shouldn't. Local legends add to the mystique. Native American lore speaks of a spirit flame lit by ancient beings, a beacon between worlds. Early settlers whispered that the fire was a gateway to underground caverns where the Earth's inner fires breathed directly to the surface. Modern visitors still report odd sensations near the falls, a sudden warmth in the air, or the faint scent of sulfur blending with the damp forest breeze. Some swear the flames burn brighter at certain times of day, as if responding to unseen cues. But here's the real magic of Eternal Flame Falls. It's a rare collision of geology and optics that looks supernatural but operates on simple, earthy principles. The gas is mundane, the same methane that heats homes and powers stoves. The waterfall is ordinary Appalachian runoff, yet together they create a spectacle that feels anything but ordinary. It's a reminder that the natural world doesn't need to break rules to feel enchanted. Sometimes it just needs to rearrange them in ways we haven't seen before. Standing there, watching fire and water waltz in perfect opposition, you're left with a quiet revelation. Maybe the most gravity-defying thing about this place isn't the flames. It's how effortlessly it convinces you that magic might still be hiding in plain sight. Deep in Poland's West Pomeranian region, a grove of pine trees stands frozen in mid-bow, their trunks bent at sharp 90-degree angles, as if gravity itself took a wrong turn here. Known as the Crooked Forest, this cluster of 400 pines defies every rule of tree growth. Instead of reaching skyward, their trunks jut horizontally for several feet before abruptly kinking upward, creating a surreal silhouette against the landscape. The uniformity of the curves is what chills observers most. Almost every tree bends at the same height, the same angle, like a chorus frozen mid-curtsy. Walk among them at dusk, and the effect is downright eerie. The trees seem to lean toward some unseen force, whispering secrets older than the forest itself. Theories about what caused this botanical oddity range from plausible to borderline fantastical. Some botanists suggest heavy snowfall in the tree's infancy could have weighed down their trunks, creating permanent bends as they grew. Others point to a rare genetic mutation, though that wouldn't explain why the curves are so eerily synchronized. Then there's the human intervention theory. Local legends claim German farmers in the 1930s deliberately shaped the trees for furniture or shipbuilding, using tools to guide their growth before abandoning the project during wartime. But here's the catch: no records exist to confirm this, and the precision of the bends seems almost too perfect for crude human methods. What really ignites imaginations, though, are the more unconventional explanations. Some researchers speculate that the area sits atop a localized gravitational anomaly, a pocket where Earth's pull shifted directionally for years before correcting itself. Others whisper about magnetic field distortions from buried mineral deposits, warping cellular growth in the saplings. Paranormal enthusiasts take it further, suggesting the trees were bent by an otherworldly force, perhaps a UFO landing or energy vortex. The lack of definitive proof only fuels the mystery. Unlike gravity hills or magnetic forests, the crooked forest offers no instant, testable phenomenon, just silent, living witnesses to something science can't yet name. Visitors describe an uncanny stillness here, broken only by the creak of aging wood. The trees themselves seem caught between defiance and surrender, their twisted forms a testament to resilience. Scientists have core sampled the trunks, confirming they're nearly a century old, yet their growth rings reveal no obvious trauma, no disease, no fire, no clear reason for the bends. It's as if the forest decided collectively to grow sideways for a while before remembering its purpose. Perhaps that's the real magic of this place. The crooked forest doesn't just challenge our understanding of nature, it challenges our need for answers. Some mysteries aren't meant to be solved, they're meant to be wandered through, pondered under the dappled light of bent branches. And as you step back onto the straight, ordinary path beyond the grove, you can't help but glance over your shoulder, half expecting to see the trees straighten behind you, or bend further, as if pulled by a force only they can feel. Nevada's own version of Death Valley's wandering stones proves this phenomenon isn't confined to one desert. On the cracked, sun-baked surface of the state's dry lake beds, rocks carve mysterious tracks across the earth as if tugged by invisible strings. These sailing stones, some as small as a baseball, others weighing over 600 pounds, leave behind trails that twist, turn, and even cross one another like a chaotic dance no one witnessed. What makes Nevada's stones especially intriguing is how their movements differ from their Californian cousins. Here, the trails often stretch longer and straighter, suggesting faster, more deliberate journeys across the Playa. Theories about these stones read like a detective's wildest case notes. Early observers swore the rocks were pushed by supernatural forces, ghosts of ancient tribesmen, restless UFOs, or even the land itself shifting underfoot. Modern science offers a more grounded but no less fascinating explanation. Like at Racetrack Playa, the secret lies in a delicate alchemy of ice and wind. During rare winter nights when temperatures plummet, shallow pools form on the lakebed. As these freeze, they embed the stones in thin sheets of ice. When morning sun softens the ice, it fractures into massive floating panels. A gentle breeze, sometimes barely strong enough to flutter a flag, pushes these ice rafts across the muddy surface, dragging the stones along like reluctant passengers. The result, grooves etched into the earth as the rocks inch forward, sometimes traveling hundreds of feet in a single day. Yet Nevada's stones hold their own unique quirks. Unlike Death Valley's solitary wanderers, here you'll often find clusters of rocks moving in unison, their trails running parallel before abruptly diverging. Some seem to pivot mid-journey, leaving sharp 90-degree turns in their wake. Others, particularly the heavier ones, plow straight through the mud like freight trains, their paths undeterred by cracks or ridges. Scientists suspect the lakebed's unique composition plays a role. The clay here is exceptionally slick when wet, reducing friction to nearly zero. Combine that with Nevada's notorious wind gusts, and you've got a recipe for rocks that don't just drift, they sail. Visitors to these remote lakebeds describe an almost meditative stillness. Without the roar of waterfalls or the rustle of forests, the only sound is the occasional crunch of salt crystals underfoot. The stones themselves sit motionless, their journeys paused until the next perfect storm of ice and wind. It's a humbling reminder that nature's most spectacular performances often happen offstage, witnessed only by the traces they leave behind. And while we've uncovered the broad strokes of how these stones move, the details remain tantalizingly elusive. Why do some rocks stay parked for decades while others trek yearly? How do identical conditions send one stone veering left while its neighbor goes right? Perhaps that's the real allure of Nevada's sailing stones. They're not just geological oddities, they're collaborators in an ancient, silent ballet, one where the choreography changes every winter. Standing amid their tangled trails, you're left with a quiet realization. Some of Earth's greatest magic shows don't need an audience. They just need time, the right stage, and a hidden script written in ice and wind. From optical illusions that fool even the sharpest minds to gravitational quirks that stump scientists, these 22 locations reveal just how little we truly understand about the forces shaping our world. Each spot, whether it's water flowing backward, stones sliding unaided, or flames dancing behind waterfalls, feels like a tiny tear in reality's fabric, a place where Earth winks at us and says, "You don't know all my tricks yet." What ties them together isn't just their defiance of gravity, but how they blur the line between natural wonder and outright impossibility. Some, like the Gravity Hills, are masterclasses in perceptual deception, proving how easily our brains can be fooled by clever terrain. Others, like the Hestalen Lights or Poland's magnetic forest, resist even the most rigorous scientific explanations, leaving us to wonder if we're witnessing undiscovered physics or forces we've yet to name. But here's the real magic of these places. They're not hidden in remote, inaccessible corners of the planet. Many are roadside attractions, unassuming stretches of highway, or patches of forest you could stumble upon during an afternoon hike. That's what makes them so thrilling. They're proof that the extraordinary lurks just beneath the surface of the ordinary, waiting to be noticed. You don't need a spaceship to feel like you've left Earth behind. Sometimes, all it takes is a car in neutral, a tilted cabin, or a boulder that refuses to fall. These spots also remind us that mystery isn't just about the unexplainable, it's about the joy of questioning. Standing in the crooked forest or watching the boiling river, you're not just observing a phenomenon, you're participating in a centuries-old conversation between curiosity and the unknown. Scientists, storytellers, and travelers have all tried to decode these places, and yet they stubbornly retain their secrets. Maybe that's for the best. In a world where so much is quantified and catalogued, there's something deeply human about encountering a puzzle that doesn't have an answer key. So whether you're a skeptic armed with a compass or a dreamer chasing whispers of the paranormal, these gravity-defying destinations offer something priceless, the chance to experience wonder firsthand. They challenge us to look closer, think deeper, and stay open to the possibility that the universe is far stranger than our textbooks suggest. And who knows, maybe your next road trip will lead you to a place that makes gravity itself seem optional. After all, as these 22 spots prove, the line between Earth and space isn't as solid as we think. The real adventure lies in finding where it bends.